Welcome to the Ghostly Gallery podcast, a place where we explore the world of horror and mystery in film, literature, TV, and popular culture. Well, greetings again, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the show. My name is Bruce Markison, and as always, I'm joined by co-host and producer Tracy Asteria. Tracy, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great, Bruce. Looking forward to tonight's guest. How's everything been going with you?
Other than the thunder in the background and the high humidity, other than that, things are going pretty well. And we are going to get right to this week's guest, who is one of our favorites, actress Dedee Pfeiffer. Dedee has compiled more than 65 credits in film and TV and has starred in several horror films, including Vamp, The Horror Show, The Midnight Hour, and also appeared as a regular on a favorite show of mine, Big Sky. This week, though, we're going to talk to Dedee not much about TV and film, but about important themes, really. How she overcame addiction, how that led to her obtaining a degree, becoming a vocal activist on many issues, including addiction, mental health, and animal cruelty. So, Dedee, welcome back to the Ghostly Gallery. How have you been?
I'm doing great, Bruce. Thank you for having me back. Hi, Tracy. Thank you for having me back.
Great to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Well, we're really pleased you could join us for a second time. The first time around was fantastic. It'd be hard to top that. We'll do our best. And
there you go.
I want to take us back to 2010. And that's when you decided to take a break from acting and deal with a problem that you had. It was a problem with alcohol addiction. I'm curious, Dedee, did this realization, did it come gradually for you? Or was there one particular incident or moment that convinced you, hey, I need to make a change. I need to get things straightened out?
I'm really glad you asked me that question because I think that addiction is very misunderstood. It's rarely you wake up and go, oh, I have a problem. Deep down inside, everybody who struggles with addiction knows something's not right. And it's that denial, the shame, the not knowing how to control it. Why can't I be a normie like everybody else? All these layers, the reason why you're drinking or using drugs, right? All of these layers on top that go on that just bury the fact that you're slowly dying inside. So did I take off? What was it, 16 years ago? No. It's always been like it started with an eating disorder when I was younger, and then it slipped into it slithers its way and manipulates and creeps into corners of your life until I absolutely start smoking cigarettes and drinking. So I had gotten frustrated with the industry in general. Also, raising 2 kids on my own, it was getting hard to get jobs that could pay me more than I was paying my nanny to take care of my kids. I was working to pay for someone else to raise my kids, and I was still in the hole financially, and something that wasn't making sense at that time. So I went to college because I did have and always have had this passion to want to help people. I just always had that, and I was doing it for free. I was volunteering all the time. So I went to college to get a degree, and within that 10-year span, it took me 10 years to get a 6 or 8 year degree because I was carrying this disease on my back. I was carrying alcohol on my back. I was raising 2 children. I was a high functioning alcoholic. There's a whole bunch of us out there, high functioning. My kids were very well taken care of. 100% no. But even, this is where forgiveness, I have to give myself that even people who don't have addiction still can look back at the way they raise their kids and go, oh, I could have done that differently. But it was my last year in college and I just lost my mom, and I was exhausted. I was exhausted from lying to myself, to everybody else around me. Everybody knew, And my family came in right before I was about to start my last semester at UCLA for my master's of social work. And they basically said, we want to do an intervention with you. And I stopped and I looked at them and I said, they're waiting for me to tell them to F off, because that's generally what happens when you go to somebody who's active in the disease. They don't want to hear that. Or they start pointing the finger at you like, oh, what about you? I mean, look, and I just said, I started crying. And I said, I was secretly writing down 800 numbers that I had seen at night. 1-800 call for addiction help anonymously. I was writing those down next to my bed and trying to get the courage to, and it was really hard to make that call. So I think the universe jumped in. They tried to do an intervention. I blocked them at the path because they didn't think I was going to even show up. Right. I said, tell me where to go. Please take care of my children, my animals. And I'm there. 2 days later, I was in rehab. Intensive 30-day lockdown. Did not see my kids, nothing, no computers, phone, nothing. That was really hard. But that's what it was going to take to peel that onion back of trauma, self-loathing, hate, denial. Oh, the years and years and years of layering you got to unlayer to get to the core, that you're powerless over something, right? So it was an incredible journey. I'm 8 years sober last week. I call it my rebirth day, because it was a day when I got out of rehab. It was a rebirth, and every year that I'm able to say I did it, especially lately, it's very consider what's going on in the world. If there's a time to relapse, I'm going to say this is probably that time. But then again, I can look at it as above, so below. As much as it's a great time and good excuse to relapse, just to check out, I can also look at it like this is the most important time to hang in there and stay in the game and be part of the solution. And relapsing ain't that's part of the problem. So if I'm going to remain an anchor, something that I've been working on with my spirituality, try to anchor the frequency as the world's going through a huge change. I made up my oversoul told me that that's kind of why I'm here. So staying sober is part of my earth contract, right? To come and help stabilize a field right now that's very people don't know if we're in one world, another world, where are we? And I get to say, I don't really have those answers, but I'm here to help you get through it. And that all started from my sobriety. So, and for years, it's just, again, going deeper in my spirituality and the why am I here? I mean, it's just, you don't born and then you die. That never, no, stop that, right? That just never made sense to me. That's a cruel joke. If that's what my mankind is you're born and you die. I'm like, oh, hell, I wake up. So I had to go deeper and deeper. And that's where the soul searching came in. And every day that I'm sober is another day I have an opportunity to kind of go deeper into those questions and not be afraid, but be excited for what the answers might look like. So I've had out of body experiences, not on that, but the real way, the sober way with your pineal gland. I've gone to the Monroe Institute for a week where they remote view. Hello. Joe Dispenza in Colombia for a week. I went out of my body. I don't even know where I went for 45 minutes. I can't sit down for 45 minutes, let alone meditate. And I closed my eyes and my eyes popped open and I was meditating somewhere else for 45 minutes. I don't know where I went. I came back with tears down my face going, whoa, my human experience just exploded. And you want to just share it with everybody. You know what I mean? But again, so the sobriety led into other areas of my human experience. Yeah.
Dedee, do you think the Hollywood lifestyle contributed to some of the problems that you were having? Not to put the blame on other people, but it's fast paced. There's a night scene. There's a lot of pressure. There's promotion for films, the pressure to go to public functions, socialize with others. Do you think that made the problem worse?
Yes and no. It certainly doesn't help. The pressure that's put on, well, first of all, you have to understand, I started in 1982 when I graduated high school. It was when I started studying, and I studied for 2 years before I got an agent and started auditioning. We were literally told, especially as women, you gain weight, you're not going to work. If you get a tattoo, you're not going to work. Your arms are too chubby, cover them up. Your hair's thin, get extensions. Don't smile, you'll get wrinkles. It was rough. I mean, listen, they were brutal. You would lose a job if they felt you were too heavy, if you were losing, what I mean? It was
Hmm.
like stuff that they were able to get away with and kind of do now, but it just looks different. Was really difficult, especially on women. Men went through it too, don't get me wrong, but it was really brutal on women. Um, so to say it was the reason, no. Did it help? No. Because there's a lot of people in the industry who don't have addictions, right? I mean, they just don't. So the same thing that I was exposed to, they were exposed to, and it didn't really affect them because they didn't have the disease. Okay, because an addiction is a disease. It's like cancer. It's a disease.
Yeah.
And like cancer, you can kick it and it can come back. So it's something that you have to nurture and take care of. So it didn't help. And this is why now I'm living out in the middle of a small town with geese, wild geese, and bears and coy wolves, and saving every animal that gets within my clutches. Because, and like I said, I live right now, my old computer is up on boxes and a couple boxes of cat food. Because
Hmm.
I'm trying to, like I mentioned you guys earlier, I'm trying to live a soft life, SOFT. It's a new thing, by the way. If you haven't heard it, Bruce and Tracy, people
Yeah.
are learning how to live a soft life, bringing down the chaos, bringing down the noise, bringing down the stimuli that keeps your body going zzz on the inside. And it's just not healthy for us. And somehow in our
Yeah.
human experience, we were told you have to be like, you have to. And I realized, those are social norms that a bunch of people who I've never met before decided are the rules. And I don't even know these people who came up with these social norms, So I was like, I don't have to do anything that doesn't resonate with me. And I want to, at 62 years old, I finally am like, I'm taking care of my soul in this earth body, in this lifetime. And especially if I'm going to go to 125, I'm thinking 125 is a good age. At that point, I'll probably leave my earth body. At that point, I'm aiming for 125.
Yeah.
But until then, it's this human experience and it's what we make of it, right? So I did have to pluck myself out of Los Angeles, 100%. And out of the stimuli and out of the noise, for sake of a better word. When you're healing,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Think about it. Think about a wound. You can't heal if you're still bleeding, right? Healing doesn't start a wound,
Sure.
let's say, right? You're not healing until it stops bleeding. So if you're in an environment, right, where whatever it is you're dealing with is still keeping you buzzing and, spinning, and God, especially about any kind of an addiction or disease like that, right? You're trying to heal. I highly recommend just to pluck yourself from that environment and do the best thing you can do for your oversoul, and just protect like you would a baby, right? I mean, protect
Yeah.
your soul like it's a baby. Treat yourself, your soul, like you would your own child or your own rescue dog, who's sitting right here next to me, my new tripod over here. I have a 3-legged dog. It's first time.
Aw.
So yeah, no, the industry can be really rough. It can also be magical. Um, I personally am just really digging my spirituality, the unknown, the supernatural, the paranormal. That's my new thing. And it's not even new. I've been experiencing this for a very long time. It just wasn't cool to mention it because I would be considered crazy.
Hmm.
And I was already considered crazy. So I started throwing in, I could feel energies in the room, that some energies I hadn't left. And sure enough, somebody had passed away in that room. And my sister would go, why do you do that? I go, I just felt it. I don't know. I just had to ask. Did somebody pass in here? They're like, oh, why would you ask that? I said, because I'm feeling something, And they're like, oh, funny you mentioned that. Yeah, the owner passed away in this house. I'm like,
Hmm.
listen, I love you. I'll talk to you later. I'll be out in the car waiting for you. Mom, the hair on the back of my neck. Well, now I embrace that, but before I
Hmm.
knew what it was in the 80s and 90s, I didn't know. Well, they just thought Dedee's odd. Dedee's just an odd one, and I'd be like, yeah, and inside going, and I'd go along with it. Yeah, I'm odd. I feel things others don't. I had an out of body experience in the 80s that I didn't know what that was because we didn't have internet. I didn't have a phone. No one was talking about out of body experiences. I float right out of my body. And then my physical body pulled myself back in 3 times and said, "You're not done yet. You're not done yet. You're not done yet." And I laid there in bed going, "What the heck was that?" And what do you think I did the next day? I got up and ran to my sisters, both of them, and my best friend
Hmm.
Carla, and said, "You're never going to believe what happened." And they're like, "Were you drinking?" I was like, shockingly, no. This one was a sober night. So, and they're like, "Oh, well, you must have been dreaming." I said, "That's what's weird. I promise you, I was not dreaming, but I don't know what that
Hmm.
was." Like I left my body. Like, you can't do that. I go, I didn't think so, but I did. And then you start to question yourself, am I going insane? Oh my God. Right?
Oh,
Hmm.
wow. Oh,
Now
that's
I'm
so
considered
cool.
cool because I've had an out of body experience, right? Now I am cool. Then they were going to institutionalize me. So
Yeah. You mentioned these people that were telling you can't gain any weight and you have to look at your arms to make sure they don't look fat. You were very young at the time. I think you're about 18 when you start acting. I mean,
yeah.
really young.
Mhm.
Did you know what they were doing was wrong? Or did you just say to yourself, well, I guess this is the way it is in acting. If you want to be an actor, this is what you got to do. What was your reaction at the
Yeah,
time?
that's a great question. Thank you, Bruce, because we can look at what happened on a superficial linear way, which is, oh, that's just messed up, or that's cruel, that's mean, or that was the time. Or we can look at the question you asked. Two things went on, which is, again, really confusing. Um, there was a part of me that, yes, said, this is the way it is. Just like sexual harassment. Oh my God, I was totally assaulted sexually, but that's what happened. And there was no one to tell. Not that big actor at that time. I mean, I don't know what he's doing now, but he knows what he did. That's his
Yeah.
karma. That's his journey, not mine. But I know that what he did was absolutely two men actually. Yeah. And looking back, it's what happened. And you just
Two times this happened?
two different, yeah, one was just a guy at a club cornered me in the bathroom, and then another one was at the time a prominent actor in a car in the middle of the day and sexual assaulted, yeah. And
Mm.
so and I left both of those situations saying it was my fault. I dressed too sexy. I danced too sexy. I should have been looking behind my back when I went into the bathroom so he couldn't have pushed me in the bathroom and closed the door behind us. I should have never been in the car with that actor in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? I should have dot dot dot. And so the self blame was off the charts, number one. And a lot of people who are survivors of all of this will tell you there's a lot of self blame and just the whole thing was really really looking back, it's sad. To this day I still have to try to reconcile with myself that I did not do anything wrong. But you're so classically conditioned at that time that that's what they did and you shut up. And it was the same thing with
Mm.
when they were just making you feel like you were not enough, pretty enough, your hair wasn't thick enough, you weren't skinny enough, right? All of that. um Again, part of me was like, well, that's the way the industry is. If you want to work, this is what you have, this is the way it is, right? And yet there was this other part of
Yeah.
me that said,
Hmm.
can't I just be me? Am I that am I that bad? Am I that chubby? Is my hair that thin? Oh God, I smile and laugh all the time. I don't want to get laugh lines. Oh no, no. And mind you, I'm sitting here with a facelift. You damn straight, but that's different. That was because that we'll talk about that later. That was a gift to myself, but had nothing to do with anybody else.
Hmm.
I'm over here with geese, wild geese with a facelift. That's how much I care about the industry. It's like it's not even about them. It was a gift to myself for getting sober. But I just there was this it was this duality. You accepted it because it was status quo, and yet the core of me knew. The core of me knew that something is really wrong here. And I remember my heart aching for other actresses when I would hear, again, another actress on a show, big one, that they stopped letting her wear sleeveless shirts because some network person said her arms look chubby. And I was on a show on the same lot, different network, and I heard that got to our set fast because I was at that point on For Your Love. And there was 3 of us lead girls. And I remember Tamala and Holly and I just going, that's brutal, man. And this other girl was huge, and we were like, and she's so sweet. I cried for her when I heard they said that too, because I put myself immediately in her position and I wept tears for her, and she didn't even know I knew, but I cried for her from afar because because you just know that that's so wrong on so many levels, you know. And honestly, there was this wave when women were allowed to start to look like women again, the divine feminine again. And then now that I'm back after Big Sky, people are going to Ozempic and they're getting all skinny again. That breaks my heart again. It's an old wound, it's an echo of an old wound for me when I see them getting sick again. And they don't realize the message that's being dictated to young girls, other women, and it makes me sad. Yeah, it's an echo of an old wound for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm certainly not asking you to name names, but you mentioned an actor who did assault you. You didn't go to the police. Maybe if if it was something that happened and you were older and knew more, you might have gone to the police. But did you find yourself maybe warning other actresses, hey, this is a guy not to work with? And besides this guy, there's others out there. You got to be careful. Did you do that at all?
Well, no, and I'll tell you why. Because when that stuff happened to almost all of us in that generation, you knew to shut up. I was not going to badmouth him. That's a one-way ticket out of Hollywood. I never would have worked again. Never would have worked again. And there was no
Really?
internet. There was no cell phones then. think I had a pager, maybe, right? How would I let other actresses know that Bob over here is naughty when really a lot of them were naughty? So that's what we would call it. We called it naughty, and we now call it assault, you know, um,
Yeah.
or shady, or all these colorful names for assault. Um, and I think it's important to advocate for yourself. Absolutely, 100%. I think for me, though, the work is really working on that little girl inside who somehow felt she had anything to do with that. And I carried that for so many years.
Yeah.
Was that the reason why I drank? No, but it certainly didn't help. And when that stuff would bubble up, nothing like a glass of wine or a bottle to push that back down. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
again, it's
Yeah.
a reason why I drank. A lot of people are assaulted who don't drink, who don't have an addiction, right? They somehow manage in other ways. Actually, I think when it goes into your body is the worst part, because then it turns to cancer, tumors, and all sorts. It changes your DNA. I mean, when your peripheral nervous system starts to, you carrying that kind of emotion in your body that's not good. Far more than the assault is what it does to your nervous system, your peripheral nervous system, and your biology as a woman, and a man or a they, anybody who's assaulted. It does it. That's the work you really need to do, is on your soul and your authentic self, getting it back. And
So during your hiatus from acting, you go back to pursue a degree in social work. Tell us about that. I'm really fascinated by your decision there.
Well, I first started, I actually, the way it started was I was telling my sister, Shell, a lot of people were doing reality shows, like people following them around, and I was a single mother of 2 boys, and was a working actor, blah, blah, blah. And I said, somebody approached me to do a reality show about my life, and I was like, I think I'm going to do it because I needed money at the time. I needed money. I didn't want to do it. And she was like, oh my God. I said, or she was like, really rethink that, Dedee. And I'm like, girl, um, so I also had this there was a court case going on at the time that broke my heart. I was watching it on court TV every day, and watching what was going on was just devastating me. That the other side, I said, is either maybe a reality show to keep my boys and I afloat financially, or I might want to, I think I want to not go back to college. I'd never gone to college. Go to college for the first time in my life and get a degree to help people, because I did, and I was helping people through charities and volunteering, but I thought maybe getting a degree would be a more effective way. I really thought I could just go a year or two, get like a psychology degree, and then like, yeah, and just be done with it. I had no idea what I was doing. And the reality show, I decided not to do. And I walked up, I'll never forget this. I figured out where the community college was near me, walked up, went into the main building and said, "Hi, I want to talk to somebody about going to college." They're like, "Who?" I go, "I don't know. Who do you talk to?" They're like, "A counselor." I'm like, "That works." So they said, "Well, then that guy over there, he's an academic counselor." I'm like, "That works." I go in, he's like, "Hi." I go, "Hi, my name is Dedee." And he goes, "You look familiar." I go, I get that a lot. I said, "So, I want to go to college." He goes, "What degree do you want?" I go, "I want to help people." And he goes, "Okay, what degree?" There's many. I said, "Well, I don't know. I just want to help." Because, "Well, what degree?" And I go, "You tell me." And he goes, "That's not how this works. You tell me, and then I help you figure out how to get that degree." He goes, "A psych degree?" I said, "Sure, that sounds good." I really had no idea. And remember, I graduated in 1982. Okay. So we didn't have letters in our math. Two plus F equals 30. To me, that was a typo. So, and that's exactly when they assessed me. They were like, "Oh, this woman. Oh no. Oh no." And they did the little writing and the math. The math, I was just like, I'm gonna try 16. I think there's like 2 plus MN equals 90. I said, "I think that's a typo." And they're like, "No, it's called algebra." I said, "Oh, so what do you try to solve?" I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, right, yeah, yeah." Went back and was like, "What?" So I was like, I had no idea what that was. So I just threw numbers down. Then the writing part, they gave you a prompt, which I didn't know what it was. And it says to write a cohesive uh, paragraph. I wrote 3 pages by hand. It was one big, fat, long sentence, misspelled words, no periods, no punctuation, no coherent thought, just me, like I'm doing now, diary of the mouth, but I was writing it all down. I was like, "Oh, they're going to love this. Wow, look how much opinion and passion I have." And this, and they were like, "Oh my God, she doesn't even know what a cohesive paragraph looks like." And her spelling. Oh, so I was literally, I would like to say a hot mess, but let's leave the hot part out of it. So I had to start with a lot of prerequisites right away, just basic classes to even get to those. I was going to be a forensic psychologist was my original plan, because I'd watched the TV and I thought that was cool, until my friend sat me down and said, "Do you know the bulk of what you will be doing as a forensic psychologist?" I said, "No." And they said, "You will be looking at deceased children who've been molested." And I said, "I will not be doing that. I cannot do that. That will ruin me." And she said, "Smart, because those who do it go cold and shut down so they can do the job." And I thought, "I'm way too alive. I know my purpose. I cannot, no, I'll let them do that. God bless them all. You know, they're better people than me." So, my therapist at the time said, "I think you'd be a good social worker." I'm like, "Okay." So, I got took me 4 years to get a AA, 2 years to get my bachelor's of psych, and then 3 years to get my master's of social work at UCLA, because I took a year off to get sober. It was a 2-year degree, but the the gal who helped me get sober, who at the time ran Brief Life Healing Center, said that especially the industry especially the way I am and my life, which is full and very busy with the boys and all that. I'm so hands-on, always saving animals too, because I'm not busy enough. And she's like, "Your relapse waiting to happen. You really need to anchor your sobriety in." I'm like, "No, but I have to go back." And she sat me down and said, if you really want, you just spent a month in rehab. You better think this hard. So I took a year off, not knowing how I was going to financially do it, not knowing anything really. Like when I went back, my cohort was gone. Like I was with a whole new group, but I did it, I did it. And I do it all over again to be sitting here right now with you guys.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is huge, Dedee. That is huge. Um, you have gone through a lot, and 8 years is an amazing accomplishment. So congratulations for
Thank you.
that.
I want to let people know that they can do it too. Because listen, now listen, I cried the whole time. I wasn't like, yo, I'm woman, hear me roar. Like, I was like, no, I bawled. I cried the ugly cry. I was in the corner rocking, but that's what you do. And that's
Mhm.
okay. We have this human experience. We're taught to be afraid of our tears. Just like back in the day, we're taught you get assaulted, shut up. No, that's old. All that stuff is old. Get your ass sober, cry, go to that trauma and experience your rebirth, man. Life's just waiting for you to just jump on board.
No, oh, 100%. And you've done well with your studies. Your social work studies, you focused on addiction, mental health, homelessness. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. What is the biggest misconception that people have about those who are struggling right now?
I think one of the biggest things, and I still actually hear this from people who know me. And when I say, listen, when you blame an addict for not being able to stop, an addict is anybody who has an addiction to anything. That can be shopping, that can be sex, that can be drugs, that can be alcohol, it can be work. When you are doing something to an excess where it's affecting your life in a negative way, one could argue that it could be an addiction, but whatever, the semantics. But the bottom line is this: to say you can control it is saying somebody with another disease, say cancer, and blame the person for having cancer. Well, you shouldn't have ate candy. That's why you have cancer. Or, there's people with lung cancer who never smoked. Stop the pointing of the finger. And like, people were always like, why can't they just stop? You know, they're blaming the person when they're active in their disease. If they're still using their drug of choice, their DOC, whatever that is, shopping, like I said, they're active in their disease. And the thing I hear a lot is they're still blaming the addict. They're blaming the person with the disease as if they have a choice. And I always want to say, listen, if they had a choice, they'd be a normie. We wouldn't be having this conversation. They would be a normie, right? A normie knows when to get their ass out of the office and go home because you got a family waiting for you. Or if it's a sex addiction, right? They know the same thing with somebody who's a normie. I'm going to have a half a glass of wine and now I'm done. I got a little teeny buzz, teeny, now stop. Now, those of us we're like, oh, this is happy hour. Why are you finish? You got to finish that glass. You don't leave that thing sitting there half full. Hell no, right? You know when to stop. And it doesn't affect your life in a negative way. And that's a normie. And if you're not a normie, then you're in another category, right? And that is not the same thing. Blame people who are acting in their disease to me breaks my heart. You can't help it. If they could stop, they would. They're like, they lost everything. You would think that they get sober by now. Really? Oh, really, sir? Who said that? How do you know that? That's how hardcore that disease is for that. They did lose everything and they still can't stop because they need help. They need help and they're afraid to ask. The shame that goes with addiction is off the charts. When I just got out of rehab, I couldn't say to myself, oh, the shame was so great.
Oh, wow.
And yet it should be proud of. And the shame was knee clapping. I had to grow into it and own it. It's not who I am, right? It's what I have.
Right.
I have a disease. I'm not my disease, right? And the same thing with homelessness, because that's my area of concentration. People like to walk by people and call them lazy. Good job. We live in a country right now where AI is taking people's jobs. And that was happening before in other areas. So a lot of people on the streets have addictions and or mental health issues or both, right? And they're being re-traumatized by being out in those elements. And again, they don't know how to say help. Help. I need help. I didn't know how to say, I can't do this by myself. There was secretly writing numbers, trying to get the balls to call, say my name is Jill, and I don't know how to stop. Can you help me? Right?
Yeah.
So next time you see somebody, I know it's hard because usually their actions are horrible because it's not their authentic self, right? If they were a normie and sitting in their authentic self, they wouldn't be acting like a jerk or doing stupid things or horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
They're active in their disease. The addict is just running a path.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, it's a huge problem. And I think just over the last few years, like I find it's increasing and increasing. Do you find that people are a little bit more open? Oh,
I'm so happy people's hearing you. I did hear Bruce's party though. I'm being jealous I was invited. Hey, I have my little homemade poppy drink I made with apple cider vinegar and a little juice, water, homemade poppy.
that is good for you.
Yeah, poppy has a lot of stuff that I'm like, what is that? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm kind of curious too. Do you find that people are a little more comfortable or even a little bit more open about talking about mental health issues and addiction, or do you still think that there's still a lot of work that people need to do to open up more and be more accepting?
Both. There was this amazing wave when I was getting sober in the beginning. People, celebrities. Oh my God. There's a list of celebrities and musicians that are all sober. I was like, oh, thank you, Lord, I'm not alone. And they were like, I got 35 years. And I'm like, why don't people know that? Okay, here's a good story. I was on Big Sky. And there I was, and I was a year, 2 years sober. What was it? Oh shoot, man, time flies. That's like, I don't know, 2 years sober, whatever. And one of the directors, I won't say out loud because they in AA, it's not fair to do that. They have to, own it themselves. But this was one of the directors, and I remember I come on the set because my character is Denise, but I'd come on the set and be like, "Yeah, I'm 2 years sober, and yeah, I'm sure you're all gonna go have beer. You're not gonna invite me because I'm like sober." And they're like, well, "You're crazy. We'll invite you even without a beer." And then one of the directors came over to me one time and said, "I love how open you are with your sobriety. It's so refreshing and so beautiful." And the crew just was like, "Whoa," she just came in and just whop, there it is. And then she said on the DL, quiet to me, "I have 35 years. And she said it quietly. And you know what I said to her? "Why are you whispering that? That is amazing. You inspire me because I know people like you have done it for a hell of a lot longer than my 2 years. Even 2 years, this feels like a long time, trust me." But I said, "But what?" And she goes, "I don't know. Out of habit." I said, "Yell that, girl. Yell that. Own that." And, and I realized, and then another cast member came up to me and said, "I'm 5 years sober." I'm like, "Why are you whispering? Why is it?" Because, like you said, there's still some social stigma around it. Otherwise, they would not be whispering. Yet there's this whole other plethora of people that are like, "Yeah, I stopped drinking when I fell off the stage at an Aerosmith." You know what I mean? So we have a group of people that are just owning it, and then others that are still holding on to the stigma. So I'm going to say both. I'm going to say right now there's a new generation of kids, which I just love. This my boys' generation. There's like these group of kids that choose not to drink. They don't call themselves recovering alcoholics. They don't call themselves anything. They don't like the titles. They say, "I choose not to drink." So I hang out with people who don't drink. Both my boys don't drink or do any drugs. And it's very difficult for them to find girls who don't want to party and all that. And yet they're out there and they're on apps, dating apps, and they're especially for them, for these group of kids who are like, I find fun doing other things. I don't need to get high or go drinking just because I legally can right now to have fun, And how strong these young bucks are out there going, I don't need a drink. I was like, oh, I'm at their age. I was like, oh yeah, I need a drink. I have to have a drink to be able to go into a room and talk. Otherwise I would stutter and go cry and go get under the table because I was so shy. I had to drink. These kids are like, I don't need a drink to go to a club. I'm like, whoa, you go, Johnny. You're bigger than me.
Yeah, that's definitely the
I
kids
love.
today.
Yeah, I'm like, who are raising these young bucks? I love these birds and bucks. I love them. Birds. That's a Canadian? No, it's Ireland. Never mind. Sorry.
Those are the kids we should consider the cool kids, the ones who avoid all that stuff.
They are. And those who dabble in it, why not? And if they're doing it responsibly, go for it. I mean? And I see them doing it responsibly. There is always going to be some that don't. But here's the thing. Some of those that are abusing those things, might have a little issue with it. Time will tell. Cause you know how like everybody in college drinks. I said, that's true, but not everybody has an addiction. So a lot of them after college knock it off. And that's a normie. Okay. They went through a phase, but then you have those who continue it. That's why, see the difference? They're like, well, I went to college, I drank, and I don't have a problem now. Well, you're a normie. Okay. And so what's your point? They're not. Apples and oranges. The apples and oranges are actually broccoli and zucchini. No, but that's the same thing. I need another chug of my homemade coffee.
Dedee, a few minutes ago, you mentioned homelessness. Is that the area of social work that interests you the most?
When I was in college, yes. Yeah, that was my first year of internship. I was in the field. And let me tell you, there is no better education on that population than boots on ground in the field 5 days a week. No article, not even documentaries really can cover what you witness and what you see. And this is why I'm an advocate for that population, because for whatever the reason their individual story is, they landed out there. But let me guarantee you this. Nobody wakes up one day and says, hey, I think I'll be homeless. That sounds like a good idea. It's not the way it works, people. No. People are like, well, we all have choices. Excuse me, Mr. Opinionated. Yes, we do all have choices, but everybody's nervous system is different. Everybody's history is different. This person may have lingering mental health issues, undetected, undiagnosed. Same thing with addiction, trauma. They could have been abused as a child and never said anything and just snap one day, right? And everyone's like, oh, well, she lost everything and now you don't even know where she's at. Yeah. Did anybody maybe check on her to see maybe before you call her lazy and a loser out there, that maybe that woman went through such a horrid childhood and had no help? Because once again, came from a generation that said, oh, we don't talk about that. Okay. What happened with you and Johnny, Uncle Johnny? We don't talk about that. I have friends, social worker friends right now who work in small towns in the United States. That stuff is still going on. And these young girls come in and say, I can't talk about what's happening to me. And I'll be disowned by my family. And my friends who they said they sit there and they just, inside their blood curdles and itches. They get internally like itchy because they're like, they want to scream, what is still going on in this country and other countries where this is still somehow okay? And these poor young girls, boys, theys are still being sexually abused or abused at all. And the families are still protecting them and turn on the victim. It's still going on. Now, so again, I know we were talking about people without homes, but they're a community. They create a community. People don't like that. But I'm like, hey man, if you were if for whatever reason you found yourself out there, you're going to want a community because believe it or not, it's really rough. They get re-traumatized out there. The women do get re-raped out there. Okay. The men get stabbed. There's a vet that I just fell in love with. He had one leg and terrible addiction, mental health. And, he had a big old machete in his wheelchair. And, I became very fond of him. Boy, he broke my heart. He has to live in my backyard. This man served our country. And at that point, the VA turned on him because, for a lot of reasons. I had other friends who were, not all of our symptoms. That does not say the VA does not take care of their people. I'm not going to say that. Please. Oh my God, don't send me hate mail. A lot of people fare really well, and there are those who fall through the cracks. That is with every system. In our country, a lot of old systems need facelifts, just like I had. Okay. We are working with very old systems that are way outdated and either need to be revamped, blown up and start over again or something, but they're not always designed to help the person they're supposed to be helping. That kind of is all happening with a lot of things in this country right now and other countries as well. So having said that, until, like I said, we bring down the noise and pull it down and get back to what it means to be a human being who cares about other human beings. Because you think about it, if you're still in judgment, now I'm gonna segue right into aliens. Here we go. People go, why haven't they showed themselves to us? Well, first of all, they haven't. We shot them down. Okay, don't get me started. Would you go back to a country if they're shooting at you? No. But here's the other thing: we can't accept each other in other countries and people down out on the streets. And our judgment is so off the charts. How are you supposed to accept something that looks very different than us, of a higher intelligence, can read your mind and talk to you without opening their lips, a hell of a lot smarter. They may not have our human divinity, but they're pretty darn cool. But, right, we're not quite ready to accept something so different than ourselves, because until we can get it together here on the planet until we can unite a little bit more, we're by the way, we are uniting slowly. We are. There's a movement and I'm part of it. I promise you we're not doomed. We are raising the frequency on the planet. The collective is pulling it up. We are. You're just not hearing about it, but we are. So, but one of the things is judgment. And why do you think you judge? Because you judge yourself. So you got to start with home base. Until we start accepting each other and stop judging, can we really open up our hearts, our souls to other entities and other higher intelligences, right? Because we're like kindergartners in if you think about higher intelligence and all the other everything, right? I mean, look at the Egyptians. Oh my God, it's written on their walls, right? We are embryos. We still are fighting over like healthcare. Come on, somebody's sick, help them. Stop it. No, they're sick. You have the antidote. Help them and stop it. Just stop it. Just no. You know what I mean? Stop and ask somebody, hey, it's hot. Would you need some water? Right? Yeah. We got to pull it in, man, but we really are. Oh, did you hear that?
No.
My rescue dog I don't know if you can see, my rescue dog just got too close to my rescue cat. It's okay. She let him know. She was like, excuse me.
That is a perfect transition to my next question, because all these things you're talking about are all worthwhile causes that you're involved with. The one that really grates on me, and I see a lot of it here in upstate New York, in the Cooperstown, Oneonta area, animal abuse. Every week we are hearing stories on the news. 25 dogs, 30 cats have been found at a residence. They've been abused, not taken care of, neglected. The SPCA comes in and does a rescue. And it's heartbreaking when you hear this kind of stuff. And I know that animal cruelty, animal abuse, that's another one high on your list.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to talk at length about this without completely losing it. When animals are abused, it's by far the shadow side of our human divinity. Because, like I said, when there's a left, there's a right. When there's a up, there's a down. Every light, there's a shadow. We have a shadow side. Mankind has a shadow side. Any human being that can hurt an animal or a child or anybody really. But let's just for a second stick with animals because they can't defend themselves. If they do, we euthanize them, right? It's not the pretty side of mankind. It's the shadow side if there ever is a shadow side. It's something I struggle with every day. Meaning, as a little girl, my dream was to get the biggest piece of land I could ever afford and go around the world and save all of the animals, all of them, get them out of bad homes, get them out of the shelters, get them out of, and then put them on my land and feed them and make sure they had medical care and lots of love. And if you want to come adopt them, you can come and you see which animal resonated with you and you could adopt them. But I was going to save all the animals in the world as a little girl before I became an actor, before my sister was an actor. That was my dream. And everyone said, Dedee, you're idealistic. You can never do that. You can never. Why tell a child that? Now I'm thinking back, Mom, Dad, they're from North Dakota. They were. All I can say to you about that is that as long as we are not numb to it, the light is still within us. It's when we become okay with it, numb to it, continue to allow it, and not resist it, is when we're going to lose it as a species. We're going to lose it as a species. And so I do, and I'm seeing more and more people advocating and going in and stealing these animals out of the labs. They're out there, the horses and the horses on New York streets. I mean, I've signed every petition I've done. I have an unscripted show that I'm trying to get off the ground, and it's called Sanctuary Road. And you know what that show's about? Rescuing animal rescues. Because animal rescues are having a tough time across the United States. They're having troubles feeding their own self, let alone these rescued animals. So I want to create a show where we bring attention to them, show you who they are. And next time you want to go buy a gift to create more pollution on Mother Earth, and she don't need it, by the way, and your friends don't need any more gifts. We can show you how to make a donation and then you get seeded paper, which then make wildflowers. Anyways, a donation, and you can adopt the animal's name, like Tracy, you buy Bruce a birthday gift, right? And from one of the rescues that my show will feature, and we'll make it very easy. And you go, a donation was made for you, and guess what, Bruce? Martha, the rooster, is now your adopted rooster, or Muffin, the cat, or whatever, right? I don't want to bring celebrity voiceovers, and I know really the show's going to be I just have to get it produced, but it's devastating. I don't even know what to say about it other than we have to continue to care. We have to continue to care and resist. And the new generation of kids get that. The new generation, man, they are amazing. When you show them what a cow, I mean, I'm a vegan, but a chicken, and they go to a farm and they pick up a chicken or pet a cow, and then they tell them what that burger is, they cry.
Yeah.
They cry. They don't want to eat. They don't want to eat it. And the parents make them. See how we immediately numb them out? Their instincts are to say, well, I went to a farm yesterday and I picked up that little Randy rooster and I was petting him. What do you mean he's like a chicken? But there's chicken on my plate. Honey, that's just what we do. But I'm not okay with that, Mom. Listen to our children. Listen to we were told shut up and eat it. I would sit there all night long staring at that chicken bone with the fried chicken all night long. Oh my God. My mom would go, you're going to sit there all night till you eat that. And you're going to like it. And I would just be crying because I knew what it was. And I just, right? And yet we tell kids, don't feel, don't think, don't trust that little voice inside that says it's cruel to hurt animals, period. So as long as we still have people who are living with their shadow side, we're going to have animal abuse. torture, the whole thing. Think about it. We still have people that are molesting children. Of course, we still have people hurting animals. They kind of are working from the same DNA. I'm gonna say there's
Mm.
some dark DNA that still exists on the planet. Those people have dark DNA, and but we're slowly trying to weed them out. Slowly weeding them out. We're not producing any more of those, that's for sure. I'm looking at the new generation of kids. You notice the new generation of kids are totally different? They're all
Mhm.
starseeds, right? They're starseeds. They're coming in with no history, no baggage. They're coming in solid, light, love. They're like, sorry, I ain't eating your chicken, mom. You can take it away. I ain't eating it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, and if they saw animal cruelty, they step up. They step up. Not our generation. We were told to stand down. New generations are standing up.
Absolutely
Right.
agree.
So Bruce, what I'm saying is we're weeding out a lot of old dark energy, old shadow stuff that's still lingering on the planet. Look at all the molestation. I'm not going to get into it. My God, with the East Files, I'm not going to do that. But that's old stuff that's been embedded in the whole world for so long, right? But it's up now. It's up and it's out. And now we can see it. We see it, we spot it, we know it, we go, oh, hell no. But when it's hiding right in the crevices of our everyday life, it's hard to call it out and push back on it. It's out. It's out and it's proud. So we get to say, oh, okay, now I know who you are. I know exactly who you are. I got your number, and that shit don't fly with me. I see you. I see you, right? So we're slowly, as a collective, weeding out because we're cleansing.
Mhm.
That's why it's so chaotic right now. Because the old dark shadow side of the world is kicking and screaming because they know they're on the way out and they don't like it. Sorry, sorry, guys.
No,
Sorry,
absolutely.
you had your time and now you're done.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
No, that's right. And Dee, this is like such a great conversation, and we are learning so much. Um, I know before the end of the show here, Bruce would like to ask you a couple of questions about one of his favorite movies.
Okay.
And I'm just going to take up just another moment of your time. I read somewhere that when you're having a bad day, you call it a salty day. What is one thing that's really fun that you like to do to turn that around?
I call it a what? What did I say?
A salty day.
Oh, a salty day. Yeah, that sounds like something I said. Um, oh, when I'm having a salty day. My new, because it changes all the time. Because something works and then it doesn't work. You gotta keep changing it up.
Hmm.
My new thing is I take my shoes off when I go outside and I step on Mother Earth. It's called grounding. It's old school, but let me tell you, I put my feet on the ground, whether it's muddy or snowing or whatever. And it can be wood or it can be rocks, sand, dirt, grass, but no concrete, no asphalt. You
Hmm.
have to touch the earth. And then I kick it up a notch. Yeah, I hug a tree. I do it, Tracy. I hug it. I'm a tree hugger.
I
I
love it.
am. Do I hug it like a crazy woman? No. I put my back up against it or I'll put my hands on it and I will breathe in and I'll visualize. I name my trees Tracy the tree or legs. Legs is legs. It goes through her trunk down into the ground and all those roots that are down there alive and they're responding to each other.
Hmm.
They come up through my feet because this is science, by the way. This is science. Comes up through your feet, through your body, and then out your chakra and come back. And it's like this synergy. It's like this spiral. And I breathe in and out. And sometimes tears just come out of my face and I'm not quite sure why. I'm not crying. They just come and I go, okay, wow. And then I say, I'm not afraid of you to my tears and I welcome them. I say, I'm not afraid of you anymore. You're welcome. Thank you. And I heard that you're also releasing extra cortisol that you don't need
Mm.
from your tears. The next time you cry, bring it on because too much cortisol can really mess up your body as well. So that's my new thing. Um, um, and also turning on really old songs Alive and Kicking. I just heard the other day, Alive and Kicking from, the 90s. Um, born to be alive, born to be alive. You know what I mean? I, those songs that even my boys go, okay, that's catchy. I'm like, this is real freaking kids. Okay. Real music stands alone forever. You got to grab one of those songs that you go, oh my God, every time I hear that song, I want to bop. You can't help from bop. You bop or move. Find that song on your phone. Go wherever you get your music and just find that song and put it in and play it. And your mood will instantly change. And
I
then
love that.
allow it to change. Right?
Absolutely love that.
And to shake that shit off because we feel things that our brains tell us to. Our brain's an organ.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, right? So we got to tell it, no, not today, Felicia. I'm not going to be sad right now. No, we're not going there. I'm not interested.
Oh, perfect.
Dedee,
Well,
before we
thank
let you go, as Tracy mentioned, we did want to ask about a film that just hit its 40th anniversary back in July 2026. Hard to believe it's been that long, but the wonderful horror comedy Vamp debuted 40 years ago. I cannot believe it. I remember watching, it was one of my first apartments. I was in my couch. It was on cable TV, and I'd never heard of this movie, didn't know anything about it, and it was hysterically funny, but also a good horror movie too. What did it do for your career in terms of making you more well known, especially to horror fans?
Well, first thing I have to say is Richard Wank fought for me for that role. It's like I owe everything to Richard Wank for fighting for me because I believe the producers, they wanted somebody else. So there was some dealing and dealing. It happens a lot. Like, okay, well, if you get Dedee for Amaretto, then I get so-and-so for blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's like, right? So
Yeah.
thank God I won, or I was part of the the negotiation, and that Richard got his way. So
Yeah.
that did wonders for my confidence as an actor. It was my very first starring role. I always called Amaretto my baby. She was my baby until I had babies. There's a part of me that lost that Amaretto in me for many years, and I did. At 62, I'm finding Amaretto's coming back because I realized that I needed that quality of myself back. It did wonders for my career. The, but more importantly, I got to work with such incredible people, and there was no better film to have jump started my career in that way, and to be a lead. I didn't really understand what that meant, even while I was doing it. I just thought it was an acting gig. And then somebody said, "Well, how's it feel to be a lead?" And I was like, I still kind of was confused what they meant. They're like, you and Chris are like the lead, and I went, oh yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah.
Feels good. I'm like, my whole thing as an actor, I just wanted to work. It didn't matter what it was, who it was, it didn't matter. Whatever you gave me to do, whatever I could get, I would do, and just try to give it my all. What I love about Vamp is that 40 years later, it still has a fan base that is more solid than all three of my ex-husbands put together. Okay, there, I said it. Oh, if any of them are listening to this, calm down, you're fine. I do not hate any of my ex-husbands. It just didn't work out. So talk about loyalty. And I'm going to say something. I appreciate every single person that sees my work and says nice things about me or my work. I appreciate them. The appreciation is off the charts. My gratitude is deep. Because I am well aware, without my fans, without those followers, without the people who bought the tickets back in the day, that's when you used to buy tickets at theater, you know what I mean? Or all the people who rented my film at Blockbuster. Yeah, I'm going there, kids. That without everybody doing those things, that film would not have been successful as it was. It still wouldn't have a life to this day, and has a huge cult following, which I love. That is sexy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm in a cult film. Yeah. To me, that's so much more cool than being in, I don't know, a big mega studio movie. I guess I would probably own a home now if I did one of those. I'm still renting, whatever. But I'd rather still be renting and be in a really cool, sexy cult film like Vamp that to this day still holds its integrity, and
Yeah.
and and um and I get to say it was my baby, you know? And there's a guy out there who just came across my feed, Youngblood. That guy loves his fans. He appreciates them to the point where it reeks out of every pore in his body how much he appreciates every single one of his followers and fans. And I say to myself every time I follow him now, I don't even know what his music is like. I just follow him because he represents what every single celebrity should be like. He is the epitome. Like, if someone asks you for your autograph, you better give it to them. It was them
Yeah.
why you were walking in to this expensive hotel, driving your expensive car with all your millions. It was that person that you don't have time to give an autograph to or to say hi or shake their hand or take a selfie with them. It was that
Yeah.
person that you just dogged that got you to where you're at. Where's your appreciation? Where's your gratitude? And that guy, Youngblood, he is the epitome of that. And I love that guy for it. And I don't even know what his music's like. I have no idea, but I don't care
Yeah.
because what he represents to me is a lot of celebrities can learn from him for sure.
Do people still stop and ask you about Vamp?
Um, this rescue cat, she's trying to jump on my computer. We rescued that one here. I don't get recognized. My hair's brown now because when I went to college, it just grew out. When I did Denise, we kept it kind of dark red. So I had a work
Mhm.
set. I just let my hair grow and it's now brown. My hair is brown. If I had money, I'd probably go blonde again or red. So people don't recognize me because most of my work, I'm either blonde or another color. I'm also older. I generally don't wear makeup when I go out.
Mhm.
Always have my hair like on my head and I'm wearing like a visor. I don't wear sunglasses, but because you need the sun. People don't recognize me, but I think they know my voice because I'll be walking by and then I'll say something to my dog. And then when someone walks by, I can feel them turn as I go by. And I can tell that they're like, that voice is familiar. She didn't look familiar, but that people have said, I didn't recognize you, but I recognize your voice. So no one asked me
Mm.
about it. Nope. On Instagram, they do a little bit.
Well, I still recognize you. The facial features are still there from 40 years ago. You still look great.
Thank
So I know you when I see you. I know it.
thank
And I'm sure Tracy does too. So
you.
do really appreciate your time. It's always a blast talking to you. You're one of the best we've had on, and especially this past hour, getting your thoughts on some really important issues. That was my cat just crashing through our gate. Everything's fine in the house. Yeah. But we really do appreciate you taking the time to talk about some important stuff. It's maybe not as always much fun as talking about the movies, but I think it's great what you're doing. It needs to get out there. And I hope you continue to do it. And I hope we see you acting in the near future as well. You've also got a new podcast that's going to be coming up. We'll have some information about that in the coming days. And I think Tracy, when she prepares this, will have some written information about that. So we do appreciate your time. Thank you, Dedee.
Thank you guys so much. This has been so beautiful being here with you guys. And I love sharing my love and my light. And I just want everybody to know we're gonna make it through this together. Right?
Yeah.
We are, we are, we are.
Our thanks to Dedee Pfeiffer. Of course, thanks to Tracy Asteria as well. We thank all of you for joining us in this Museum of the Macabre. And we do hope we'll see you again next time, right here in the Ghostly Gallery.